Okay, cool. So for this first one, yep, like I said, I'm in a Hornet, you're in a Hornet. It's going to be pretty even, and just make sure you're working on those fundamentals of making sure you really put in those rudder inputs because that'll really, really help you for sure. So let's go ahead and go in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, nice. Already got me locked up. All right, so I'll go ahead and pause it here for just a second. Or I'll go ahead and pause it here for just a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing to keep in mind is if you're trying to fly to the merge with somebody, you don't always want to lock them up right away. And that's really situational as to what's going on, how many opponents there are out there, et cetera, et cetera. Because if obviously when you lock someone up, you're giving them an RWR spike, the alarm's going to go off in their helmet, and they're going to hear that you're coming, basically. And so they may be not paying attention to their radar, they may be not, whatever. But once you lock them up, they know you're there. So just keep that in mind as well as you fly in towards a merge.
All right. What speed do you go for in a merge?
Probably as fast as you can potentially be in that merge, but remember that to really whip the nose of the Hornet around, you want to be about 350 to 325 knots. All right, we got individual range here within 10 nautical miles.
Track IR is having some problems here, but it's fine.
Okay, you need to do something about it? What issues? Do you have a light behind you or something? Did you get it figured out?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm good to go.
All right, and 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, good job.
Are we going for actual guns or simulated?
Why don't we go for actual guns here?
Sounds good.
Now here, now that we're now nice and low and slow is where you really, really need to make sure you're using that rudder. And there's a maneuver kill. Oh, oh, so close.
Oh, that's a maneuver kill.
Yep. Good job.
Thank you. Good kill.
Yeah, so good job there. Now, when you get into those situations where you're about to hit the ground and you're like, oh shit, I can't do anything, most people's basic instinct is to yank back on the stick as hard as they possibly can, right? But that is the worst thing you can possibly do because you're increasing your angle of attack. You're actually lowering the amount of lift that you're able to get because that angle of attack is increasing. It's increasing all the induced drag of that high angle of attack. And so thus you'll just continue to sink and hit the ground. What you actually want to do is let off on the stick and maybe even give it a little bit of a push forward to take away all of that AOA and thus gain a bit more lift and then try and get away from the ground with a gentle pullback rather than a very hard pullback. So that's one thing that can definitely help. And you can kind of see there what I was talking about, how in the Hornet, when you got two Hornets flying against each other in DCS, you know, it ends up being very, very neutral like that. And it ends up being a spiral all the way down to the ground. So we'll get into some different types of airplanes in just a second here. So let's do another one in the Hornet. So basically just go back to select roll and just pop into a different F-18 or back into the same one you were in. And we'll be good to go.
All right. I'm in.
I'm in as well. You ready?
Yep.
Alrighty, let's do it. Now, when you're in a very like type aircraft like the F-18, you may have to get a little bit more creative. Like if you're, say, flying an F-18 against a MiG-29 or something like that, they're two rather similar flying airplanes. Not exact, of course, but you kind of get the idea. And that you probably want to try something a little bit different, like maybe try going into the vertical or something like that. But if you're against an aircraft that definitely has the advantage in a vertical, like say Su-27 or a F-14, then that's when you want to play it pretty much exclusively to your strength in the horizontal with that slow speed maneuverability. Alright, get an individual range here. And merged. And I overshot him. Perfect. Ooh, just missed. Ah, shoot, where'd he go? Right on my tail. Oh, and another maneuver kill.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna die from that until, like, right before.
Yeah, yeah. So when you get down close to the ground like that, you just got to be really, really careful. And for a second there, I almost hit the ground and had to just completely ignore you for a second there and just concentrate on not flying the airplane into the ground. And that's where, when I lost sight of you for a second, you got, of course, right onto my tail. But that's the whole thing is, lose sight, lose the fight is incredibly, incredibly true. But also, as you can see, there's a real reason why in real life training they use a hard deck, where if you pass through a certain altitude, that simulates hitting the ground, because obviously these dogfights, especially in like type aircraft, can very, very easily devolve right into the ground,
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and fly a different airplane this time, so let's go ahead and select roll again, and this time why don't I go ahead and try an F-16.